Hi folks, welcome to Hills and Hollers Homesteading and Prepping. Yes, I changed the name, and I changed the name to fit it more appropriately of what we talk about most on this channel. And being that it's winter time, you wouldn't know it, it's 60 degrees. I'm actually sitting here hunting, and hunting time's pretty much done. It's just getting too dark at this point. It's so muddy I didn't want to come too far out. But the squirrel that was right here beside of me barking and raising 3 kinds of cane pretty much ruined any chance on any deer coming down out of here. So I figured I'd pop in a quick video here since it's been several days since I've got one out there. But I wanted to include prepping in the title and also in the main part of the Facebook page, because that's what we're going to focus on a lot right now. More homesteading stuff will come along as, you know, the weather permits, and you know, we do more of what we do for homesteading, growing vegetables, growing fruit, you know, animals, raising meat, chickens and stuff like that. For now, it's preparations, and it's just like the old homesteaders and the old timers did. They prepared for winter. They prepared for long, cold winters by putting shelf-stable foods away, by preserving foods and everything to help get them through the winter. And you know, one of the biggest issues we face today is the society that we live in, is that there might be 5%, I'm going to say probably 5% max, of people who are prepared for a month or more, and you know, to live off of their food stores for a month or more. And like I said, and I've said in almost every video I've put out here, I cannot emphasize enough how important it is that we do this and that we encourage people to do this. And if you live in a small community and you have good neighbors, good friends, you guys need to get together and talk to your friends and neighbors about this. Get them interested in it. At least get them a month or 3 months into it. You know, food stores put away, of water stores, even just, you know, several cases of water put in a basement or in a garage, and kept out of the way and out of direct sunlight. And you know, have a couple different ways of filtering and cleaning water. You can boil water, you can filter it. You actually should do both. You should filter and boil it, so that way you sanitize and sterilize it. You can do water treatment. You can get water treatment tablets and stuff like that. You can even use household bleach to treat water if you need to, but you need to know the right concentrations and stuff. But just having that safeguard, that cushion, is something that I quit trying to figure people out a long time ago. How could you not have comfort in knowing that you've got that cushion, that security of having food and water and the ability to clean water to drink it and cook with for a month or more? There's no negative connotations that can even be brought from that. I mean, that's something that it should be taught in schools. You know, we got the postmodern education. What we deal with right now is pretty much, and the more I hear this and the more I hear the explanations of it, it's pretty much based on Marxism. I mean, truly and honestly, they don't teach kids to do anything. They teach them how to do some crazy math. They try to teach them, you know, all this other stuff that has nothing that's going to teach them anything about life and surviving and getting by and you know, doing for themselves, or, you know, being independent at all. You know, and that's the same with forcing colleges. You know, you have to go to college, you have to go to college, you have to go to college. Well, truly, you don't have to go to college. You know, a good trade, good skills and stuff like that are going to pay as much, if not better, and you're going to come out less debt, if any debt at all. But, you know, just this environment that we're in, 2022 is looking pretty bleak. And, you know, I'm flipping through YouTube last night, and I was looking, I did a search just for prepping to see what new would come up, because I have channels that I'm subscribed to, that I listen to, I watch and stuff like that, just to hear what others are saying, to hear what, you know, other kind of stuff might be out there and everything. And I swear, the people that are doing this stuff, I have a serious problem with fear mongering. And there are hundreds of channels out there that you can pull up, and the end is here. Prepare yourselves. You know, worldwide riots coming. Prepare. The end of the world is here. Doomsday, Armageddon, all this other stuff. And these videos, this one video, I mean, just one video title like that, they've got 60, 70, 100,000 views. And I'm sitting, and these people, if you go back in their history of their videos, every freaking one of them is death, doom, gloom, Armageddon, apocalypse, end of the world type shit. And people just keep coming back to that. And there's nothing entertaining about it at all. And we don't prep for good days. We prep for hard times. We prep for emergencies. We prep for crap hitting the fan events, long-term power outages, weather, anything that can come along. You got the climate activists now. They just one of the headlines I read today was that you've got the climate activists now demanding that they turn off the quote. Their little catch slogan now is "Turn off the spout on fossil fuels and do it immediately." And these are the people, they think that we could just go ahead and shut all fossil fuels off, live on renewables that are not even close to efficient right now. I mean, solar is great. I love it. I want to get into solar, but I'm also kind of waiting for solar to get better. The panels are good. They could do a lot better. The batteries are definitely in desperate need of doing a lot better. And the prices need to improve a whole bunch, because it's really, I mean, you could do a little by little, and I'm going to do some for my my outbuilding and stuff. And like I said, make that an umbilical for my fridges and freezers if something serious should happen that I lose my backup generator or any ability to produce electricity. But I'm going to do that. But as far as going totally off grid right now, I'll wait 10 years. I'll wait 5 years. I'll wait 10 years until the technology is there to make it better, to make it more efficient. But you just can't turn stuff off. And I've said before, what top things do I think would be crap hitting the fan events that we would face, or SHTF events. And number one right now, I'm going to tell you, it's the economy. There's going to be, and from everything that, like I said, if you listen to mainstream media, if you listen to the politicians, if you listen to the Fed and all these other folks, you're hearing that, this is good, this is good, this is good, we're going to get by, and and you listen to the people who work in these sectors, and they've made their livings doing this, and they don't depend on the government for a paycheck. They've made their money, and this is how they make their money. And listen to these folks, pretty consistency. Stansberry Research is one on YouTube that I listen to a lot. And a lot of good, credible folks on there, a lot of good, experts and professionals and stuff on there. And they have a lot of good insight into the markets and stuff like that, into the economy. But, the economy, number one, in 2022, I think is just going to go to crap, even more so than what it is. Secondly, even with the climate activists doing like they're doing, I'm thinking these would probably be the domestic folks who would do the cyber attacks and stuff like that, to take down power grids, to take down fuel lines, to do whatever they can to interrupt the fossil fuel industry. And when they do that, they don't just hurt the corporations, they hurt everybody, because there's people out there who depend on that. There's folks who depend on electricity for heat. There's folks who depend on natural gas for heat, and they have no alternatives, and they don't have any ability for alternatives. You look at people who live in urban environments and big metropolitan centers and stuff like that. These people are at the mercy of what public utilities they have. They can't have wood stoves and stuff like that. You've got old folks who live in homes with baseboard heat, or some type of radiant type of heat, or something like that, and they're completely dependent on fossil fuels 100%. And these climate activists, they think that shutting off the tap and just canceling off all fossil fuels right now is somehow going to save the planet. You're not going to save the planet. You're going to kill off a bunch of people is what you're going to do, and you're going to make it very difficult. But those are the two top things for 2022. I think that I would I would honestly expect to be one of the two tipping points would be cyber attacks, ransomware attacks, things like that in the economy, but the economy being the first and foremost, because the Fed just continues to print and print and print and print money, and continues to lower the value of the dollar, and continues to increase inflation, and it's going to pop. It's going to pop big time. And, there's so many independents out there that, like I said, the independent professionals who don't get a government paycheck, and these people are saying it's going to bust. And 2022 is probably going to be the big one. The big V that we're dealing with, and the other parts of that, the variants and stuff like that, they're finding that Omicron is less lethal. It's more contagious, but less lethal. And, worldwide or global tourism is down, I think, 77%. And these countries that depend on, especially these little small micro countries and stuff like that depend on tourism as their main source of revenue and stuff like that. What was it, Bali? I think it was Bali. They average like 6.4, 6.5 million tourists a year. And in 2021, they've had 48. Not 48,000, not 480,000. They've had 48. Their economy is in shambles. Look at Turkey. Turkey is going to crap right now with their, I think it's the lira. That's just, it's probably just about half of what its value should be. Germany, which is the richest country in Europe, is on the brink of recession. The euro is crap. The US dollar is not far behind. And when the euro takes a big dump, and well, when Germany goes into recession, the euro is going to take a big dump. And when the euro takes a big dump, the US dollar is going to take a big dump, and it's going to leave everybody scrambling. And, you know, if you think, you know, like I said, energy prices up over 33%, food prices up almost 7%. It's all going to go to hell because those prices are going to increase because the value of the dollar is going to be less. And inflation is going to continue to grow until it just pops. And that's when the trouble is going to start. So when I talk about prepping and preparedness and stuff, this is what I'm talking about. If the costs of food and energy go through the roof, we've got food on store. We've got stored food. We can live off our food for, you know, however many months we've got stored up. And that would decrease the cost that we have. That we would have to put out for food because we could live off of our stores for a period of time. We could hunt more if we needed to. We could trap, do snare lines and stuff like that for rabbits and things. You know, I got water here on the property that we could treat if we need to, you know, things like that. I don't see it getting that bad, but, you know, there are people on low incomes, fixed incomes, and they just barely squeak by the way that it is. And when things get a lot harder and stuff gets a lot more expensive, they're just, you know, if they don't have anything to fall back on, you know, that's when the reality of, man, I wish I'd have done this. I wish I'd have done that. And that's why, you know, there is no good time to panic. You should never panic when it comes to prepping. You should never panic when you have to turn to your preps. Your preps are your plan. That is your game plan right there, is to fall back on your preps, your food stores, your water. If you need, you know, water becomes an issue. Those are the things that you fall back on, and that makes common sense. That's your savings account. That's your savings account. That's what I'm telling you. That is, you know, the store shelves are going to be empty because I'm going to tell you something. When the economy goes to crap or a big cyber attack hits, first of all, if you don't have cash on hand, you should always keep cash on hand. You should always keep cash at home for emergency use. That way, if you go to the store, there's a cyber attack, there's a long-term grip down situation where, you know, they can't do electronic transactions. You got cash, they'll take cash. Okay, so you should always have cash on hand. I would probably, if you can swing it, keep $1,000 on hand, 500 to 1,000, whatever you can afford and whatever you can safely keep back. But always keep cash on hand as a backup. And you know, 3 months at a time. If you could get 3 months of preps in, that's going to make a huge difference for you right off the bat. That's going to provide that safety net for you. And like I said, once you hit 3 months, go for 6 months. Once you hit 6 months, go for 9 months. Once you hit 9 months, go for a year. Get those food preps there. Do a lot of your own preserving and stuff like that. You can go to the store, you can buy roasts. You can buy beef roasts and stuff like that. You can buy potatoes and carrots, and you can pressure can your own beef stew. And I mean, you're looking at probably 800 calories in a quart jar. There's an entire meal or 2 meals there if you want to stretch it out. So there's a lot of things that you could do to safeguard and make your food preps your savings account in the event that you would need it. So when I talk about prepping, don't look at it as tinfoil hat wearing. Don't look at it as some redneck up a hollow who thinks that the government's bad and everybody's going to, you know, it's not about that. It's good common sense. And I hate to even think about the day that comes that people who feel that way about preparedness and prepping, when it hits the fan and they finally realize that they don't have anything to fall back on. They don't have that savings account of food preps. And now they're standing in bread lines. They're standing in line. They're looking for handouts. They're looking for anything they can to get themselves by, to help get their families by. And like I said, if you got kids in the home and you don't have food stores, you don't have at least 3 months. And I don't mean 3 months of food. I mean 3 months for every person in that home. Man, I couldn't imagine the day that I would look in my kids' eyes and they tell me that they were hungry and I would have to tell them that there's just no food because daddy was a dumbass and didn't prep. So like I said, I'm not trying to guilt anybody into it, but this is why we do it, and this is why I emphasize this so much, because the world that we live in today is just, you don't know from one day to the next what's going to happen. It's so questionable. We're still in the middle of a pandemic, regardless of your thoughts on that, because the government are controlling the movement and everything of people with the pandemic as the excuse as to why they're doing it. So, the less I have to depend on consumerism, the less I have to depend on government, the better off we're going to be in the long run. And folks, I am pretty much lost light. I can't believe I've actually got this much light on this thing right now, because that's north. And it seems a hell of a lot darker than to me, south and west of me. So yeah, I'm going to get off here. Anyways, please guys, if this is a content that you enjoy and you like and you are like-minded, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Please get on the YouTube channel, give us a like, a thumbs up. Please leave us a comment on the YouTube channel. YouTube has these algorithms. This is a way to get this information shared. It helps build the channel and get this information out there. Folks, until the next time, thank you, take care, keep prepping, and God bless.